And you think to yourself, wow, that's sort of a real moment. I said, I used to think that people that ran businesses like you only cared about themselves, were highly focused on money, were focused on their homes and cars, and would really jettison, like employees or human beings were sort of a means to an end for them. And he said, but what I've learned in this role that is when you see people who are dying, when you see people who are facing surgeries or who have lost loved ones, when you see people in those moments, what they told me was nothing like that. They told me about broken relationships. They told me about young people that they'd given an opportunity to that went on to own their own business. And he said, I'm thinking to myself, so one of your proudest career moments that you're thinking about at this particular time is that you hired a young person, you saw something in them, and they went out and created their own business, and now they employ 50 employees, and you're saying that that's great. But then person after person after person all said the same thing. And he said, after a while, he said, I began to look more at myself and say, maybe I'm the one that doesn't really quite understand where people are coming from. And so I take it all in, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. And we're continuing to walk out, and then he's out of the clear blue, he says, one day you'll lay there in that bed. And I was like, you're 30 years old, you're like, you talking to me? Like, that's not happening to me. He goes, my advice is to you is to invest in those kinds of things. Invest in those things with people, with human beings, because if you do that, it's at that moment when you'll finally understand what your purpose was and what you were supposed to be doing as a leader. And you go, okay, I'm 30 something. We said our goodbyes. And I went, I wonder if that was one of those profound moments in life where you hear something and you go, you have this pause for a second. But admittedly, you're 30 and you get in the car, you drive home, you got kids, you got work, you got other things to deal with, and that's where you focus. And then 5 years goes by, and 10 years goes by, and 20 years goes by, and then all of a sudden you're like, start thinking about that a little bit more. And in time, I heard the advice. I believe that I changed some of the things that I did as a result of that advice. And I don't really think that I got it until I got a little bit older. And as you get older, you will get it, because he's not lying. Everybody will be in that spot. Every person who is pursuing or chasing that career will be in that spot. And when they are, those are the things that you want to reflect back on. At that moment, all you have is memories. You got family, faith, memories of the things that you did. And if you haven't invested in those things, I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do in those moments. So to me, that was one of those things. And again, I think things like that happen to us for a reason.